avoiding it on Metalopolis, nice big open area. But on this map, it's nice and kind of secluded in there, so he hopefully will be able to have a better defense here.
And we are going directly into this game. This is match 7 of day 1, game 2 between Rhett and Strelok here. Thanks for joining us for IPL 3 Origins. And we are moving on to Shakura's Plateau. In the last matchup, just again, a really remarkable, little play there by Rhett. He did just a wonderful job, and the counterattacks were incredibly effective. But now it gets to start all over. Strelok, who built up a very sizable force, just unfortunately wasn't able to utilize it the way that I think he wanted to in the last game. We've got Rhett spawning as the blue Zerg here in the southeast, and over here in the northwest, we've got our red Terran. It's Imba Strelok.
And I'm pretty sure Red's going to play the same style, 15 hatch, going for a relatively late spawning pool as well, because he can. I mean, he's very safe with what he does, even though, it can, a lot of players can be like, well, it's really, unsafe to do so. But Rhett is very calculated. He works everything out. He realizes the rush distances between bases. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did that. On the other hand, though, Strelok, I think, is just going to probably open up for direct into Reactor Hellion expand. It's pretty good on this map, deny the creep spread as well, because it's really hard to creep spread down a ramp as well, which is what we're going to have to see from Rhett here, and especially if you have Hellions on the lower ground that can deny creep tumors.
We got Rhett likely going to go exactly as you said, Apollo, with this more economic build here as we see 15 on its way. And with the scouting of the Overlord, of course, here momentarily, he's going to know exactly where Strelok is in this position. That does mean that Strelok might have a little bit more of a burden to actually scout. And that's why he's going to check with the SCV about the timing in which that, in fact, if you look at where the SCV is versus where the Overlord would have been, he may also know that we've got a cross-position scenario here on Shakura's.
Yeah, and that's pretty, smart from Strelok, because now he's already identified that it is cross-position, and he may have wanted to go Reaper again. Reaper would have been pretty cool, if it was close by air, because he can very easily go into the main base. But seeing that there was no Overlord, just chooses, it's probably not a good idea to go Reaper cross positions here. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did see that Reactor Hellion opening.
And we're up to 16 drones now. The gas is finished, the pool's on its way, and the hatchery is down for Rhett. What I'm really going to be curious about is to see the timing of his third here on this map, to see exactly how he's going to decide to take this into the mid and the late game. SCV's now moving forward to scout, going to get a great idea on exactly what he did, how many corners he actually did cut to get to this point. And meanwhile, that Overlord is going to move into position. And I think this Overlord, again, will be very key. You talked a little bit about Rhett scouting, and he's going to be very diligent as we see that Overlord heading. It can get behind the natural. He knows exactly when the expansion happens. And then we've got this Overlord in the middle of the map that can get in a better position to potentially scout what is inside the base. So already setting himself up, and we saw in the last matchup, when he has the information, he certainly used it to his advantage. Of course, Strelok, maybe a little bit more aware, and that is going to be dropping down that command center on the low ground.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point. I mean, cross positions is always great for a Zerg because it's longer rush distances, but the kind of down thing to it is the Overlords. It's more difficult to get Overlords into good positions, so Rhett having them in good positions is fantastic. And I love that he goes extractor then spawn and pull. Even though it's a little bit more risky, he gets speed a lot faster because of it. And you can already see that speed is halfway done now, and 2 Hellions are just on the way out now, so he's going to have speed in plenty of time to actually deflect any aggression.
Yeah, and there it is, the Overlord. He's just going to peek in here, and he sees, oh, okay, constructing command center. Good, Overlord did his job. Now, we've got another Overlord here on the east side of Strelok's base, and it is going to poke in. One of the things it's going to identify here is the fact that there is still only the one gas, which will be good for him. We do have a couple of Hellions now already out on the field and 2 more being made. Now, what exactly are they going to do? We saw Stefano handle this in a really shining fashion with those roaches, but in this case, Rhett's going to choose to go ahead and just have the queens down here at the ramp. It is a little bit safer expo to try to hold off. Now, no spine crawler, and so as these Hellions increase from 2 to 4, I'll be curious if Strelok actually chooses to possibly poke in here and do some additional damage. There's going to be a cancellation as some creep tumors killed there, but Rhett saves that one. He's still got a live one up here on the cliff.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of players say you have to sacrifice one Overlord. He sacrifices two. He gets the information, he sees that there is not a second factory reactor, which we see a lot of Terrans players do recently with a lot of Hellions, so he knows that the gas has been thrown into Stim rather than another factory, so he's feeling pretty safe. And that's what you have to do when you play so drone heavy. The Hellion count, though, is relatively high 6, and he is denying creep well, and actually Red's going to try and get a surround here.
And he wasn't really paying attention, Apollo. A lot of the Lings do go down, but the number of Hellions that he's going to take out is way, way more than I thought it ever would. He does pretty much end up losing all of these Zerglings here, but how many Hellions did he actually kill there? Quite a few, about 5 Hellions.
Yeah, I mean, he killed a lot there. And to be honest, at this level, at this stage of the game, you can sacrifice Lings in that regard. To kill 4 Hellions, that's absolutely fantastic because now he can creep spread properly. And the Hellions won't be used at a later purpose either. With basically the timing attack with Hellions at the back, they can do a lot of damage to Zerglings. Now they're gone, that's absolutely fantastic for Red. And meanwhile, we are seeing a pretty much traditional style from Red, going for 2 base layer into a fast Spire, and will save up every single bit of his gas now into Mutalisk or ASAP.
Yeah, it's going to be coming out very soon as the Spire's just about to finish up. You can already see Rhett up to about 500 gas. Strelok, on the other hand, he momentarily interrupted his factory production here, and oh no, another surround here on these Hellions. Those Lings are going to go ahead and get out of here, but he's pretty much moving over to a bio army here with right now we've got +1 weapons on the way. Of course, we have actually a reactor going down on the factory. Probably switch it up here with the starport and get that going. And you know what? You are absolutely right, Apollo. As you can just see now that the Hellion threat has sort of subsided a little bit due to the Ling attacks from Red, the creep spread is just getting out of control. And there's that third. And
you know what we talked about the other day? You know, me, you, and Adriel were sitting down talking, well, actually earlier today, we talked about how I was talking about the new style of Terrans that they've been doing recently with this Marine only. We're actually seeing it in this game being used from Strelok. He's basically 3 barracks, Marine only, with reactor onto these medivacs. He's going to be going only Marines, which is actually pretty good against Mutalisk style because you actually cannot get a high Baneling count because all your gas is in Mutalisk. And the thing is that he's going to be so cost effective with these Marines. It's going to be really interesting to see how Strelok, and more important actually, how will Red actually deal with this, because I'm sure he hasn't really played against this style recently.
Yep, and the Mutas are going to move in on here, and both of these missile turrets will be finishing up the moment that the Mutas actually move into the base. We see a lot of Marines there, and so this is an interesting position because he saw the amount of Marines it was, and immediately we see 6 Banelings come out. So he automatically sacrificed several Mutas in order to get that out. But if he lands a remarkable hit, then it will be absolutely worth it. The problem is that Baneling speed's only halfway done, and here we go. He will have a minor split there. The Banelings only do minimal damage, and he also loses several Mutas in that exchange, and so he might have the opportunity to move in here, at least take out some drones, but possibly even kill this hatchery. Here comes some more Lings. He's going to try to get into a nice little position, and there it is. I think that if he targets down a lot of these Mutas, and Baneling sneaking on through there and actually getting quite a few hits, but again, one more Muta goes down, and suddenly that count went down. If he loses these medevacs, though, that'll be scary as well.
Yeah, that actually didn't go as well as it should have, or could have gone, to be honest. I mean, he lost a lot there and didn't really gain that much. I mean, what did he kill? Just a few Bitterlings and Banelings, but I mean, I'm looking at the units. He killed 4 drones. That's not worth it at this stage of the game, because Rhett immediately, because of Lava Inject, builds 20 more drones instantly anyway. So he's back up to 60 drones, and now all of a sudden the push from Strelok that is going to follow this eventually is not going to be that strong because he didn't do any damage to Rhett.
Yeah, and you know, when he was in that position, and I'm not sure if Strelok thought, well, I'm going to end up saving these units because as long as they're funneled here in between these minerals, it's going to be okay. I almost feel like he would have been better off focus firing the Mutas and having him start back over at 0 for trying to build that back up, because then you have to sit there and go, okay, do I try to replenish my Muta count, or do I commit to a few more Banelings than I normally would? And he did retain enough Mutas that he'll continue that. In fact, he's going for +2 air weapons right now. Has a lot of Lings just checking on the third as well, being very diligent about scouting, and looks like Strelok's going to have his third up.
Yeah, Strelok takes a relatively easy third. It's kind of easy to defend as well. You don't have to run all over the place to defend against Mutalisk, so it's quite an easy third there for Strelok to take. Meanwhile, as you said, +2 is on the way, so he is going to be going Mutalisk heavy. And look at Red, he's taken the north base already. It's only just over the 13-minute mark. It's up. He will take the gases immediately to start, because gas is the most important thing about playing Zerg for sure. And he's going to be able to really push these upgrades, can build incredible amounts of Banelings, Infestors, got a high VZ. Bit of a counterattack though, but oh, he gets in again.
He does. I'm not sure. Well, he's going to go ahead and let the Lings just desecrate that middle area. Meanwhile, just a small group of Marines do get taken out here by the Mutas, and if the Mutas are given free reign, this could be pretty scary. There's only missile turrets in the back side of the base, more Marines coming out from the back, but don't forget, a lot of Lings did manage, well, he actually got not as many as I thought, but he did get 7 workers there in that exchange. He also caused some positioning shifts there by Strelok, and I don't think he lost any mutas in that exchange, which is also very, very important. So just doing a little bit of damage. He also scouted, which was a nice little bonus that he got on there, just to see what else is coming out.
Oh, so many Mutalisks go down there. 3 do go down, and there is a drop in the south side, but I think that Rhett already spotted it leaving, actually, because it did get picked up on creep, and he is going to intercept it anyway, which Strelok already knows as well, so does unload and gets ready to stim to fight.
Yeah, now, Apollo, what is he going to do? Rhett's muta count is getting very, very high. There's another drop here in the northeast base. Here we've got a lot of Lings heading on in. The muta's going to come over, and just a perfect amount of mutas to quickly take out that medevac. Now, meanwhile, in the middle, we've got more Marines that are completely naked. No medevacs here. If they've been stimmed, they're not doing too great. And they're going to quickly get out of there knowing that they would be easy prey. Now, we have this sensor tower up, but again, what is he going to do to deal with the mutas? We see one Thor out, but that's the only one that's currently out. Hive Tech now currently underway at the 16-minute mark here for Rhett. And, you know, what do you think? What does Strelok need to do? He's got a lot of Marines out here, but can he effectively take care of this large flock of mutas that is just getting bigger and bigger?
Well, the main base is very naked, actually. There's minimal turrets, actually, really minimal turrets, and that's really smart from Rhett. What he's done is not really shown the high Mutalisk count, and then comes in when there are hardly any turrets around whatsoever, and he's doing incredible amounts of damage, and because Mutalisks are pretty fast, they will be able to get back in time to help defend this. Easy cancellation on that, and we are going to have an engagement very, very shortly here. But Rhett's upgrades are pretty, Strelok's upgrades are pretty good. 2-1 on the Marines, +1 on the tanks, and a counter-attack to the third base again from Rhett here, and doing a lot of damage to the SCV line.
And knowing that there's just an orbital there, he's going to clean up all those SCVs. Meanwhile, the Zerg units, look at the amount of Banelings that are back there, in addition to the amount of Mutalisks that he has right now. All he's got to do is catch Strelok in an off position right now, and we have another drop going on.
And a small drop in the main base, but a big engagement now. Big push from Strelok. Still, the counter-attack has killed incredible amounts of SCVs. 35 have been killed in this game now, but look at all the Banelings. This is what you can do on 5 base gases.
Yeah, I mean, when you have the gas, and look at these Lings have taken out all those SCVs. The orbital almost goes down as well, and now Strelok finds himself really, really spread out all over the place. Apollo, he's got a couple of units up here, but there's plenty of Lings and Banelings there to reinforce that. And here we could have the last big attack. We've got some Infestors out as well. The siege tanks are not enough. Everything is lost, and so much is left over for Rhett. 92 supply for Strelok, 142 for Rhett, and we do have a little force moving in here to try to take this out, but it is just not looking good for Strelok right now.
Yeah, he did drop at the same time, killed a few drones, but was cleaned up by Rhett. Able to multitask at the same level as Strelok as well, cleans it up, and now we have Strelok, who lost so many SCVs to that counterattack once again on that third base, is in a horrible position, down to 32 SCVs, and I think Rhett's just going to go for the kill.
He should too. I mean, at this point, he doesn't have to fight into a planetary. All these Marines are going to go down if the Banelings hit right, and the mutas will clean up the tanks. No problem at all. In fact, some mutas stay on over and wreck that base, and there it is. GG! And Rhett does it in 2, and Apollo not only does it in 2, but looks ridiculously strong in doing so.
I mean, one of the questions I asked is like, you're playing against Rhett, what do you